Hello there, this is the Shadow Ranger, and this is going to be a follow-up to a video that I did. It was called A Video Without Honor, and that video was answering a question that Jay Hobson sent me. It was talking about people saying that if Ring of Honor had TNA's TV slot, they could be competition enough with WWE, and enough that they would make WWE change their programming. And I talked about in that video how that was just ludicrous, and how, you know, nobody's going to be able to compete with WWE unless you have lots and lots of money. And I wanted to follow up on that video after some other thoughts that I had over the past couple of weeks about that topic. So I just figured I'd just make another video about it. Now, when I made that video, there were people who disagreed with what I said, and they still think that, you know, just putting Ring of Honor on TV, on a good TV spot, would be all they needed to compete with WWE. But that's just not going to work. And I think that it's so ludicrous to talk about Ring of Honor being able to compete with WWE, that how I'm going to prove that point is by talking about Ring of Honor competing with TNA. So I made a list of things that I'm going to go through. I only have 6 on the list right now, but if I happen to think of more as I'm making this video, I'll keep going. Now, this is what Ring of Honor would need in order to compete with TNA. Just my point is, by showing just how hard it would be for them to compete with TNA, will show you that the concept of them competing with WWE is just insane. Alright. Now, first of all, this is all predicated upon them being able to get another TV deal. Without a TV deal, none of this will even matter. But I do think they'll be able to get another TV deal. I think there's still enough of an interest in wrestling that somebody would be willing to pick up Ring of Honor. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and predict it right now. Ring of Honor will have another TV deal by the end of this year. I'm going to go ahead and predict it. They will be back on television by the end of this year. Now, it may be HDNet again. Some other channel might pick them up. But I think it'll happen. So that's my prediction. Ring of Honor will be back on television by the end of this year. Now, let's assume they get a TV deal and they're on Thursday night, same time as TNA. Let's talk about some things they're going to have to do. Now, excuse me a second. Sorry about that. Okay, where did I leave off? My original point in the first video was that the money was the issue. That Ring of Honor simply doesn't have the money to ever be able to compete with WWE, and they barely have the money to compete with TNA. So let's go through a few of these. First thing they're going to need to compete with TNA is they're going to need a better taping schedule. They can't tape shows two months in advance like they did with the HDNet show. You know, the last ROH on HDNet aired this week, but I believe the episode, let's see, this is April. I believe the episodes were taped in February. Now, they're not going to be able to advance like that. And I'll explain, well, you know, TNA usually tapes 2 weeks of television at a time. Sometimes they'll do more. It happens, but they're going to need to tape tape the episodes a lot closer to the day that they air. Taping episodes a month and a half before they air is not going to work. It's important for continuity. If there's no continuity, then people aren't going to be able to follow the show. You know, they can't watch an pay-per-view and see Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin win the tag team titles, and then tune into the TV show, you know, 3 days later and see that the Kings of Wrestling still have the title belts, talking about how they're the best team and they're never going to lose. You know, another thing, you know, where are they going to tape their shows? I mean, if TNA can't afford to go on the road for each taping, then I seriously doubt Ring of Honor will be able to. Now, Ring of Honor will have an advantage in that they don't have their wrestlers aren't as expensive as some of the people in TNA. TNA spending money on guys like Jeff Hardy and Rob Van Dam and Hulk Hogan, and that does drain the wallet a bit. I mean, that's not an issue with ROH. A lot of their guys are people that are unknown, that aren't huge stars, so they won't have as much trouble. They're not going to spend as much money on talent. But I'm going to come back to the whole talent issue in a little bit. But where are they going to tape? They're going to have to be able to tape shows at least every 2 weeks to be able to go head to head with TNA on a Thursday night. Because if they're not at least taping their shows at least on the same schedule that TNA is, that's going to put them at a distinct disadvantage. Again, that's going to be an issue. That's going to cost a lot of money. I believe TNA spends a couple of $100,000 a year to rent the Impact Zone. So, they're going to have to do more house shows, live events to make money. That's another thing. Probably going to have to update their production values too. I mean, you look at WWE and then compare their production as compared to TNA's. It really makes TNA's look bad. And then when I look at Ring of Honor and compare that to TNA's, Ring of Honor looks even worse. So they're going to have to up that. That's going to cost a lot of money. Excuse me again. Advertising is going to be a big deal. Ring of Honor can get by now just being known by the internet crowd, but if they're going to be on TV, especially if you're talking about competition, they're going to have to be able to advertise their product a lot more. They're going to have to attract the casual fans some too. That's the one thing that makes me sidebar for a second. That's what makes me question: do Ring of Honor fans really want Ring of Honor to grow and get bigger? In order to grow and get bigger, they're going to have to attract more viewers. The hardcore wrestling fans already know about Ring of Honor. That means they're going to have to start attracting some of the casual fans, and they're going to have to make changes to the show in order to attract the casual fans. That's going to be an issue. And I wonder, are Ring of Honor fans going to like the changes they would have to make in order to attract casual fans? Another issue is talents. They're going to have to lock their talents up to better contracts, which means they're going to have to pay them more. Because their main guys, their main drawing guys will have to be ROH exclusive guys. You very rarely hear about some of the top talents in TNA doing indie shows. You don't really hear a whole lot about like AJ Styles or Samoa Joe and guys like that wrestling at other indie shows. The lower card TNA guys do, but the upper card guys don't. You'll notice the higher you are on the card in TNA, the less you hear about those guys wrestling at any indie show. They are usually TNA exclusive guys, and Ring of Honor is going to need that too. But in order to lock these guys in the exclusive contracts, they're going to have to start paying them more. I mean, the ROH main eventers will have to be paid at somewhere close to the TNA main eventers. That's just so TNA won't try to steal their top guy. I mean, it's still a business, and wrestlers want to make the most money as possible. And if the guy's in ROH, but there's more money to be made for him in TNA, they're going to jump. If we learned anything from the Monday Night Wars, it was money talks above everything else. There's very few guys who were truly loyal to Vince McMahon. Shawn Michaels was, Undertaker was, but that was the time when Undertaker wrestled in WCW for a while. He went to WWE because he got a better offer. Hall and Nash jumped ship because they got offered huge money. That's what happened with a lot of the guys who was jumping ship during that time. The other company offered them more. And, Ring of Honor is going to have to be able to handle that if they're going to be competing. So, image is another thing. Ring of Honor does their WrestleMania weekend shows every year where they go wherever WrestleMania is that week. They can't do that anymore. If they're going to be taken seriously as competition, they can't piggyback on WrestleMania anymore. No more of that just doing the show the Friday before WrestleMania. I mean, Ring of Honor can do that now. It was okay they did their Honor Takes Center Stage shows because people aren't looking at them as competition. But if they start talking about competing and wanting to be competition, they're going to get slaughtered for doing that. People are going to see them as a joke. I mentioned in a video last week, I said, should TNA be doing a show in Atlanta during WrestleMania weekend? I asked it on YouTube, and I asked it on Bleacher Report. I asked it on Bleacher Report as well, and the overwhelming majority of the answers I got was people said absolutely not. TNA shouldn't do a show in Atlanta during WrestleMania weekend because it makes them look bad. Everybody say it would make them look weak, it makes them look pathetic, it makes them look second, third, fourth rate. It would just be awful for their image if they did that. It makes them look like they can't do it on their own and that they have to just piggyback on the WWE. It makes them look, that was the majority of the answers I got. It makes TNA look bad if they had done a show in Atlanta during WrestleMania weekend. Very few people said they should. And if competition comes up, that same thing is going to affect Ring of Honor. They can't come out and say, we're going to compete with TNA and we're going to be the number 2 if they're still trying to piggyback on WrestleMania every year. It's going to make them look bad. Let me check my time real quick. Alright, I'm at 11 minutes, a little over 11 minutes. I think that's all I wanted to point out. Those are the 6 things I came up with in this video. Yeah, I think that's everything I want to point out there. So, those are just a few other thoughts I had on this topic that I wanted to share. Like I said, I go back to my original point I made in the first video. Money is the key issue. Ring of Honor can't compete with TNA right now very much without more money to work with. And if the money they have to work with, they'll barely be able to compete with TNA. So competing with WWE is just asinine. That's just completely out of the question. Hopefully, if they do get a new TV deal, the TV network will be willing to invest some money into the promotion. They're going to need a financial backer to help them. So let's hope that happens. I've said before, I'm not really a Ring of Honor fan, but I do hope for the best for them. There's a lot of wrestlers out there that just not enough good companies, good, well-paying companies for them to work for. I want there to be a more strong competition. Yeah, nobody's going to be as big as the WWE, but but TNA can get to about maybe 55-60% of what they are. Nobody in TNA may never be, you may not ever have people in TNA making $2-3 million a year, but if somebody's making $600,000-700,000, that's good too. I'd like to make $1 million a year, but $600,000, that's good too. I want Ring of Honor to get bigger. I want there to be other companies. Personally, I want there to be I don't want there to just be 2 companies fighting out for the number 2 spot. I want there to be 3 or 4 companies. I want there to be WWE, and I want there to be like 3 other companies that are the same size as TNA. I want Ring of Honor to be as big as TNA is. I want other promotions to come up and be able to be as big as they are. WWE has a lot of time sewn up, but that doesn't mean there's not enough room for other companies. There's nothing wrong with having, nobody's doing Tuesdays anymore. NXT's online now, so no one's doing anything on Tuesday nights anymore. And you could put another wrestling show on Tuesday nights, and most people would rather watch that than NXT. I don't even watch NXT, but give most people the choice. I can go on the internet and watch NXT on Tuesday nights, or I can turn on my TV and see Ring of Honor on Tuesday nights. I'd watch it. I'm not even Ring of Honor fan, but hell, I'd watch it. Well, also I have to be living in the United States again, but let's not get into details. No one's doing it. There's no wrestling show on TV Tuesday nights. Nobody's on Wednesday nights. No one's on Saturday night. That's 3 good days. You could have Ring of Honor on Tuesday. You could have another company with their show on Wednesday. Somebody could be on Saturday. Sunday's a possibility, but you have to worry about pay-per-views. Earlier in the evening, somebody on at 5 to 7 on a Sunday before the pay-per-views kick off. I'd watch a show then too. There's Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday. That's 4 days a week that there's no wrestling on a regular basis that companies could be putting on. And I want that to happen one day. I want there to be wrestling on my television every night of the week. And wrestlers getting hired, wrestlers making good money. I hope that happens one day. Now, if I had the power, I'd do it myself. But I don't have the money for that. Alright, but I've rambled on for another 4 minutes more than I needed to, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. This is the Shadow Ranger. Thank you for listening. Have a nice day.